What's cracking, everybody? Felrose here, bringing you some Pokemon Go Battle content, and in today's video we are going to be talking about GUZZLORD in the Open Ultra League, slotting right smack dab in the middle of my signature Defense Deoxys team for the Ultra League. Now, I've been running this team in multiple variations ever since Deoxys came back from raids a couple years ago now. And if you're part of my Patreon Discord, you guys know all about this team, ins and outs of it, and just how good it can be. Now, GUZZLORD fits right in this team because essentially anything that just dunks on ghost types is really good for this team. So, essentially we've got Defense Deoxys in the front, we've got Drapion on the safe swap as my Shadow, my favorite Ultra League Pokemon ever, and we've got GUZZLORD as the closer, and we're going to look at these battles here. Huge shout out to the patrons, by the way. You guys are such an amazing group of people, and I love all of you. And if you'd like to join that Patreon Discord, there's a link in the description. As well as if you're looking for some coaching for Pokemon Go PvP, have a Metafy link in the description for that as well. Now, we see a Giratina lead, and I'm just going to immediately dip into my Drapion, and that draws out a Swampert, which is kind of awkward because Deoxys is weak to Swampert. But the thing with Swampert is that after Drapion's landed a Crunch, maybe two, gotten a shield if it can. So the thing with this matchup is if you draw out a Swampert, and if you do run this team, typically you want to no shield because more than half the time my opponent will bait with a Hydro Cannon and I can live and get a second Crunch off and force a shield. So that gives shield advantage to the Deoxys, even though it's going to end up getting a line to the Giratina. We're just looking to give that extra shield to GUZZLORD and let Deoxys kind of utilize its energy somewhere. So that's kind of the gist of this team, right? So you've got Deoxys, which core breaks a lot of teams, and then if you happen to get a Ghost lead, you try to pivot in a Drapion to get switch advantage, or just utilize the amount of energy that Deoxys can gain from like a farm down or something, and just try and you know, dink and dunk it over throughout the course of the game. So you'll see a lot of these games where I use Deoxys' energy. I just kind of throw a Psycho Boost and then I dip, and then I come in with something else, and then I'll, you know, farm up a bit, throw a Rock Slide and a Psycho Boost, dip out. So it's a lot of dancing with this team, but for the most part, if you can master it, you're in a good spot. Now this sucks though. I'm pretty sure I lose this game. This is just about as hard counter as you could possibly get. Like, this is like the just person said, you know what, I know that Zer likes a team like this. I'm just going to run the exact hardest counter to it that I possibly can. Now, had the opponent brought in Cobalion to the Drapion, yeah, I just top left. Had my opponent brought in their Cobalion to the Drapion, we would have been in business because that would have meant that GUZZLORD could have gone against the Swampert and the Giratina. So against a Drapion lead, this whole set I just got like ransacked by people running things that just hate me. But so I safe swap into Drapion immediately. Sometimes I'll like go up to 5 and try and swap and catch a move on Drapion, but depends on how I'm feeling at the moment. But so just want to talk about this team for a minute though. So yes, this is a team that I go to every season. There's a reason that I release the videos of it at the end of the seasons, because it's that secret special sauce team that helps people in my Discord hit Legend, and this is my new version of it for the season that I've been having fun with. Now, you can go back and see some previous videos, usually where it's Deoxys. There's Obstagoon from last season. Those are all previous versions of this team. And yes, it's a fairly expensive team. I understand that Shadow Drapion and Defense Deoxys are not cheap builds, but in my opinion, they are probably two of the best things for Ultra League that you can possibly build for yourself. And so I can heavily recommend it. Now, GUZZLORD, I just decided to try and have some fun with. I made the thumbnail that you clicked on to watch the video, and I thought it was a pretty neat idea. So I was like, you know, I'm going to see if I can get GUZZLORD to work in this team. And I went, actually, this first set, I went 3-2. But then I went on a 5-0 streak afterwards. So you'll see that as well later on in the video as we kind of progress. If you want to skip to it, go for it. It's fine. You're just going to miss me floundering against some of these early opponents as I'm really learning the in and outs of my GUZZLORD. Now, the GUZZLORD IVs, I specifically chose the 11, 14, 11. Ryan Swag does have a deep dive out on GUZZLORD, so I would check that out before you build a GUZZLORD, just in case you have one that fits his criteria. But most of the ones I think from him are going to be trade IV, but he does have a raid IV section, I think, and you can check that as well. But I just picked the best one that I had, and I just kind of rolled with it. Now, as far as this matchup goes, Tapu Fini, really sucks for this team, let's be honest. I'm going to try to swap here to try and, you know, start getting some farm. Try and see if I can take out the Tapu Fini now that I know that its energy was low. But my opponent actually swaps in their Trevenant, which the win condition suddenly appeared in front of me. So now what I can do is I can overfarm a bunch because I resist the damage. And by the way, watch this. Watch how slow. The water guns do nothing. Guzzlord has such a massive HP stat that despite having a small defense stat, if it takes resisted fast move damage, that thing can take a beating. So what I'm looking to do here is I'm looking to put this Tapu Fini within range of my Deoxys to come back in and hit it with a Psycho Boost, or let Guzzlord get to another move. Now this Tapu Fini essentially has to get to the Moonblast in order to take me out here, because a Surf will not do enough. A resisted damage against Guzzlord really doesn't do very well. So you do hit me with the Moonblast, absolutely hurts, but because my Deoxys has a Moonblast, or not Moonblast, has a Psycho Boost, not a Moonblast. But this is what I'm talking about, right? You save a little bit of energy on the Deoxys, and that is what helps you win games. It's sort of the finesse factor with this kind of team, right? You're using the energy advantage on Drape. Look at another Drape only. Like, this game literally hates me. I could not be getting hard counter harder if I tried. So, Drapeon's going to come in, and my opponent brings in a Jellicent, and I think that was definitely a misclick. There's no way that my opponent, like, brings in a Jellicent on purpose there. So, I'm pretty sure that was a misclick, and while unfortunate, they just decided to kind of sack the Jellicent here, and I do remember this game. They top left after this, so I would have liked to see how this would have played out if they had picked in the right Pokemon, but, I mean, you know, we take the wins where we can, right? So, good game, I guess? Anyway, so, some more games here. We got Deoxys against Swampert. So when you play the Swampert League with the Deoxys team, and you can do it this way with just about any version of the team, because you can't really swap in Drapion. What we like to do is like to go up to about 2 Psycho Boosts or so. You could go further. You could just go straight Psycho Boost if you want. I like to get enough counter damage in there to really, you know, put some pressure on the Swampert. Go up to, you know, about 2.5 Psycho Boosts and start letting the Psycho Boosts rip. And then, afterwards, you're just going to come in with your third Pokemon, be it Guzzlord, or you could play it with the Obstagoon or with the Scrafty, whatever Pokemon you've chosen as your third as the anti-ghost closer on your team. That's what you're going to come in and farm down the Swampert with. It's okay to let Deoxys go here. There's probably something weak to Deoxys in the back. Could be a Walrein, I don't know. But we're also kind of hoping that they are maybe weak to Drapion in the back because they've got a Swampert in the lead. Typical team building means they're weak to it in the back. Now, I let this go because I know they didn't get up to anything other than a Hydro Cannon, and it's a Toxicroak, and this is now suddenly very scary. But spoiler alert, I somehow get this game in the bag, so let's see how I do it, right? So Dragon Claw, like those Dragon Claws and Dragon Tails do hit very hard, very fast. And I've got 2 shields, and I'm going to use that on this Mud Bomb. Little Maggie is just going right to sleep. She's a tired babby. It's alright. And my opponent catches on a Tentacruel, which is also very harrowing because I've got Drapion. I don't have a really solid answer to it. Now you can see why the opponent stayed in with Swampert, as they normally would, because Swampert is a good answer to Deoxys. Really unfortunate that I can't really safe swap in. So I'm going to just do my best here to try and get as many crunches up on this Tentacruel as I can, and then just see if I can get maybe a farm down on Guzzlord, something like that, to try and get the game that way. So I'm letting the crunches go as fast as I can. And normally what I do with Drapion, though, is I like to overfarm a lot, so I have moves stored. But in this particular kind of situation, I just want to get them off as fast as I can, because that means I'm going to get the shields. Now, I have to shield the Drapion here in order to get the shield off of my opponent. My only win condition at this point is to land a Dragon Claw on the Toxicroak. I overfarm here, though, because I'm counting and I know that they're not going to get to a Scald for a minute. So I'm going to farm up until I get to that Scald. I'm going to swap in because it wasn't CMP, and I'm going to catch on my Guzzlord. And I'm just going to hope and pray it doesn't KO. And here comes Toxicroak. How much damage does this crunch do? Doesn't matter because they're going to punch me down. I don't win this game. But I made you look. It wasn't on purpose. I actually didn't remember. This is the other game that I lost. Alright, so I know that the rest of them are wins, at least. I know that much, so. Bite me. Deoxys into Nidoqueen. This is, I think I saw a bunch of Nidoqueen in these sets, too. Nidoqueen is very interesting for this team. So what I usually do here is I'll go up to 2 Psycho Boosts, and then I'll let one rip. And if I'm feeling really saucy, maybe I'll throw a rock slide, but honestly, I would much rather just throw the Psycho Boost. It's really just depends how you're feeling. The opponent will usually shield a Nidoqueen, especially if it's a Shadow Nidoqueen, they usually shield it. But now I'm going to come in with my Drapion and get met with an Obstagoon. So, whether or not this Obstagoon has Obstruct or Cross Chop, I don't know yet. But usually when I get met with a Obstructagoon or Scrafty or something of this nature, I just start throwing Sludge Bombs at it. I don't try to bait with Crunches unless I absolutely have to. Or when they have like 2 HP left. So they have Cross Chop. So it's not Obstructagoon, which means that not only am I going to be able to get the Sludge Bomb off before they're going to be able to KO me because my Drapion now somehow wins CMP, but they have to shield this. I am now 2 shields up, and I'm totally okay with letting Drapion go down here because Obstagoon is double weak to counter damage. And guess what Deoxys has loads of? It's counter damage. It's going to sling those little noodly arms and deny me because of desync. That's fine. The noodle arms are going to come out flying and flinging, and I'm going to be able to counter down the Obstagoon if they'd stayed in with it. So instead, they're going to swap in, the opponent's going to swap in the Nidoqueen unshielded to a Psycho Boost, and that is going to do a good amount of chip damage. And now, Guzzlord's going to come in and hopefully be able to finish up this game for me. Now, I have no idea what they have in the back. I'm half expecting them to have a Scrafty in the back. I'm probably screwed, but we're going to see. I'm going to be able to farm them down. I know that this particular move is going to be at 5 because I just did the Earth Power, so I'm going to throw a Dragon Claw right before they would get there, and then since they're unshielded, they have to go down. The Obstagoon's going to come in. Even with bad timing, I'm going to be able to KO with this Dragon Claw, so I'm going to throw it immediately to prevent myself from taking extra counter damage. And they still don't go down, but thankfully they're not going to be able to get to a move. And then what's in the back? It's Walrein. So, this is scary. So, Walrein comes in, and I have to basically get as much damage off as I can. I do believe I still have a shield left, and I'm going to save it for my Deoxys. I'm going to try my absolute best to get to some move that I can use. Probably Psycho Boost. We're going to see how it goes. I know this Walrein has overfarmed by quite a bit. I still have a shield. All I need to do here is get to the Psycho Boost. Is Psycho Boost going to be enough to KO the Walrein from this range? I'm so hoping it is, because if it's not, I'm screwed. And it's not. It's just not enough. But I sneaked through the counter because it wasn't CMP. That one super effective counter is going to be enough to take out this Walrein, thankfully. And that's a good game. Very well played in my opponent. And I forget to say it in half the games, but I mean, all these games are well played. Honestly. So, Cresselia lead is very scary. You can't swap in Drapion because they'll have something in the back for it. And you can't swap in Guzzlord because you get Moonblasted and your face will fall off. So, Deoxys has to stay in here. And what I like to do is I get to try and get my energy up to about 2 Rock Slides and maintain it there. And I'm going to get the Cresselia down to about half HP. And then dip into Drapion when it's in a range of about a crunch. And the reason why we do that is because even if Guzzlord has to come in later against the Cresselia, which is most likely what's going to happen, having a Brutal Swing loaded is usually going to be enough. Now, speaking of Brutal Swing, I chose Brutal Swing over Crunch here because of the simple fact that Brutal Swing is slightly less energy. And honestly, Guzzlord isn't going to get to enough crunches like Drapion does for that defense drop to really impact a whole lot of things, in my opinion. Now, there's absolutely a case to be made for running Crunch. That's fine. I shield the Moonblast here because my opponent stayed in to try and get some chip damage, and I don't want to go down half HP to a to whatever they have in the back. And they come in with a Dragon Breath Giratina, which normally wins this matchup, but because they let me get so far ahead on energy, and I mean, I'm just going to be able to get to so many crunches here that either they have to use all their shields or they just go down. So I'm just going to fling the crunches off as fast and as soon as I get them, because I don't need the Dragon Breath damage to take me out. And I'm going to take I think I take a risk here. I think I go for the shield and try to get to one more crunch to try and get switch advantage so that I can keep my Deoxys off of the Cresselia preferably. But I don't think I'm able to get there. Am I able to get there? I don't remember. Oh, do I get there? Okay, I just barely get there. I think we CMP'd, actually. So, very close. That is something that you have to be precision on your nuts counting, be able to do that. Otherwise, you just let, it's Venusaur. You just let Deoxys go. And you let Drapion go, and you come with Guzzlord and get the farm. Now, they have a Venusaur in the back. Guzzlord, Brutal swings the Cresselia face off, and Venusaur comes back in my opponent top left. So Venusaur in the Ultra League, spicy, but not in my house. So here we have another Nidoqueen. This time it's Shadow. So I'm more inclined to believe that they're going to shield a bait. This is where I would maybe consider going up to Rock Slide, but truth be told, once you get a shield off the Nidoqueen and after they've emptied out their energy is when I like to swap out into my Drapion. So like if they throw, you know, the Poison Fang and then at 5, or they come in with Obstagoon and just give it to me right there. So going back to the Nidoqueen, right? So I'll throw the Psycho Boost and dip out when they are out of energy, right? Once they've gone down to shield, and if they stay in, then I will come in with Drapion once their energy is empty, because I know that Drapion up a shield and around even energy can get to the amount of crunches needed to take out that Nidoqueen. And you're going to hear me talk about a lot of these like specific matchup things. A lot of this is just honing your matchups, right? Anybody could grab this team and play it and maybe go 0-5 because they don't know the matchups. The part of the reason why this team works for me so well is because Drapion and Deoxys are the two Pokemon in the Ultra League that I know almost every matchup like the back of my hand. So yes, it does make it easier for me to be able to do that, but with enough practice and some finesse even, or joining my Discord and getting every last possible tip that we've ever recorded on this team, you can absolutely make a legend run with this team. It's never failed me in any season. I've always had huge gains at some point in the season with it, and several times I've hit legend with the team as well. So I can absolutely attest to the fact that this is it's just an extremely strong dynamic pair of Pokemon, and then you can just fit like Guzzlord, Greedent, Scrafty, Obstagoon, whatever you like in between them, and you can do well with it. So Scrafty throws a power-up punch. I'm going to throw the crunch here. Maybe my opponent thinks I've got a Sludge Bomb. Maybe I get a shield. I'm hoping. They're at low enough HP that they may want to do it. And they shield her. That's huge. So Deoxys is going to come in. And I'm going to throw a Rock Slide here. No, I'm going to throw a Psycho Boost. I'm going to throw a Psycho Boost here, right before they would get to the power-up punch. And because I've got so much energy stored, I should have enough energy for another Psycho Boost, which I do. So I swap out with a Psycho Boost just in case the Nidoqueen takes out my Guzzlord. So I'm going to no-shield my Guzzlord. That shield is specifically saved just for Deoxys to get that Psycho Boost off. I'm letting them just KO my Guzzlord, and I mean, they're trying to get my shield. That's why they're not going for the Earth Power. I would just go for the Earth Power. And I mean, no matter what, they lose this game just because of the way that I've got it set up. Because once again, Deoxys's energy, especially with those Psycho Boosts, is just so impactful that it flips the games if you just, you know, you wear down the opponent's Pokemon to a point where a Psycho Boost would KO, and then just at the very end of the game, you pop them with Deoxys with a Psycho Boost loaded, and you finish off whatever the Pokemon is. I cannot tell you how many times I've won games that way. It's just a dance. It's not always about playing RPS matchups. It's always about dancing around, saving your energy, storing a move, making use of it later. There's always some, you know, something you can do here. But once again, I'm going to go for the Psycho Boost and probably going to dip to Drapion because the opponent just threw the Earth Power at me. And there's the swap. The opponent does not bother going for an Earth Power, so I no shield. I know this is just a Poison Fang, so I'm going to let it go. And whatever they come in with, it's an Obstagoon. I've got Sludge Bombs ready for this Obstagoon, and they're down a shield. So if I absolutely wanted to, I could win switch here, but instead, because my energy against this Nidoqueen is impactful, I'm actually going to purposefully let this opponent's Obstagoon take me out. So I'm no shielding nothing, I'm no shielding everything, I should say. And especially, I don't shield against the Obstagoon, because if they end up having Obstruct, that's a waste of his shield. So I always wait and see, because sometimes they'll just go for Night Slash or they'll go for Obstruct because they think that they just win this matchup. And spoiler alert, they don't. Not when you give my Drapion that much energy. If you, and that's something, that tip that you can carry with you, my dear viewers. No matter what you're doing in the Ultra League, if you ever see a Drapion, if you let it get ahead on energy like that, you are in for a world of pain. Drapion up energy is one of the most destructive things in the entire Ultra League, and only things like Cobalion, specifically stuff like that, can absolutely completely wall it, are going to be able to do anything about it. Now, opponent's got Giratina Origin in the back. That's some spice. I don't see Origin Giratina in the Ultra League very often, so I commend this player for running it. I think it's really awesome. I'm going to go ahead and come in with my Guzzlord here. Good old Guzzle Boy. Guzzlord is going to shield up the Poison Fangs. I want to save my Guzzlord. It needs to be able to take out that Giratina. So I'm going to farm down the Nidoqueen. They're going to get to a Poison Fang, but I'm going to shield this because what I need to do here is land a Brutal Swing, and that will get it within range of the Psycho Boost that I believe I have stored, once again, on my Deoxys. You note that I have a move stored, as I normally do. Now I'm either going to get to this Dragon Claw, or they're going to take me out. And now the opponent is going to go for most likely what is a Dragon Pulse, because usually in Ultra League they run Dragon Pulse. That's going to take out Guzzlord. And look at that, we got a Psycho Boost loaded to finish off the Giratina, and that is once again going to be how we win the game. This is a common strategy, ladies and gentlemen, with this Deoxys, Drapion, and whatever the third team, or third mon on the team is. You're going to see this over and over and over again whenever I feature this team, and that's why. So this person is running absolute the Spice Lord of this video for sure. This person's running Dialga in the Ultra League. Now I completely appreciate this as somebody who just recently finished playing Celestial Factions, with Dialga is probably the MVP of my cycle. So Dialga is going to probably throw a Draco Meteor at my face, and I'm not sure if I should shield it or not. I think I do, though. Yeah, I shield the Draco Meteor because I've just seen it, and I'm just like, I'm not messing with it, man. I need to keep my Pokemon alive. So then the opponent comes in with a Tangrowth, and now all of a sudden I'm just like, I don't understand anything. I'm not going to try and read what's in the back. I'm just going to come in with my Drapion, and I'm going to see what they do. And, of course, they have a Swampert. So the nice thing about this here, though, is that Guzzlord looks very good for the end game because they don't really have anything that's going to be able to beat it, especially with their Dialga has been taken out of the way. So I'm going to just do as much damage as I can with my Drapion. The opponent CMP ties me, is probably going to throw an Earthquake. I'm not shielding it. I'm going to let Guzzlord come in and do his job. Earthquake comes in, boom, takes out my Guzzlord. I don't have my button ready, and I'm not going to go get it, so sorry. Yeah, I'll do the Boom Zionic fashion for today. So my Guzzlord's going to come in, and actually I remember this game now. This game is ridiculous. Ladies and gentlemen, just strap in and watch this. Guzzlord, I'm going to shield the Hydro Cannon bait. My opponent just baits me, and I'm going to go for the Dragon Claw here. And after this, it's going to be close. It's going to be very close. Dragon Claw is going to go out. I'm going to swap into my Deoxys to try and get them to try and snipe and counter down, but unfortunately, they are quick on the swap as well and leave their Swampert alive with some energy. And now Deoxys is going to get a Rock Slide off on the Tangrowth, and I need to get a Psycho Boost off against this Tangrowth, and they get a move in. Now, that Power Whip is going to get me dangerously low. The opponent has a shield. I'm going to throw the Psycho Boost. I'm hoping I get their shield. I really am. And they do. And that is going to be pivotal. So I'm going to get the shield here. My opponent still gets to a move. And now I'm worried that I'm going to be within Earthquake range. Absolutely terrified. Rock Slide comes in. Opponent is going to get farmed down. And I know they have a move loaded. I go for the Dragon Claw. Swampert does not get hit with the Desync Demon. They CMP me. Earthquake is going to come through. And look at it. Do you see how much HP was left on my Guzzlord? Because I sure did, and I thought I lost that game for sure. Take a look. 1 HP in a dream, folks. Absolutely smallest fraction of health you've ever seen on any Pokemon ever because of Guzzlord's move, or Guzzlord's HP stat. But we'll take that win. Good game. Very well played to my opponent. That was almost a loss, and honestly, I don't think I deserved that win, but I'll take it. Walrein lead. So here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, with this team. You got a Deoxys in the lead, and they're staying in with Walrein. That probably means there's a Talonflame in the back or something else that's weak to fighting or rock. So it might be a Flyer in the back, usually Talonflame, or it could be something like Scrafty, which is less likely because you usually don't lead things weak to fighting and have it in the back. But, I mean, I've seen some weird stuff last couple seasons, so it wouldn't surprise me in the least. But opponent's going to just try and get as much damage off from their Walrein as they can. They sack the Walrein, and then they're going to come in with most likely a Trevenant because this team is so extremely common. It's going to be Walrein, Trevenant, Talonflame, and instead they got Cobalion, and now my only answer to Cobalion is nearly KO'd. So I'm going to go for as many crunches as I can. Sludge Bomb is double resisted, so there's no point in throwing it here. At least I think it is. I'm pretty sure that Poison is double resisted by Steel. I'm like 90% sure. Crunches are going to fling off though here, and I'm going to try and get some debuffs. Once I get one debuff, usually Cobalion isn't so bad, and Deoxys can counter it down if I I mean, I have 2 shields. We both have 2 shields, so I know that I can. Now, I'm not going to shield this. This is not worth the shield. I got a defense drop, I'm pretty sure. I'm going to try and farm down with Deoxys and just try and let good old Guzzle Boy do his thing. Now, I'm going to throw a Psycho Boost here because I don't want them to get a move off on me. And, I mean, Deoxys isn't going to have a whole lot of value aside from its energy here anyway. So, I'm going to go straight into Guzzlord. And look at that Guzzlord against Trevenant. My opponent's just going to top left because they know they've lost. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you beat Walrein Trevenant cores. Well played to my opponent. This team was specifically created to dunk on the Talonflame Walrein Trevenant back when it was running things like Obstagoon in the back. So we get a 5-0 to cap the set off, and I'm almost back up at Legend. Spoiler alert, though, I've tanked since Ultra Premier came, just playing some fun stuff here. I'm not really looking to do anything crazy, but that's going to do it for this video, ladies and gentlemen. Again, you know, Deoxys and Shadow Drapion, probably 2 of the best things you can make for yourself for the Ultra League roster. Guzzlord's just a ton of fun. Makes Trevenant players quit, and I'm always down to make a Trevenant player quit. So thank you all so much for watching. Maggie's asleep. I need to record one more video, which you're going to see tomorrow. An awesome shoutcast that I got waiting for you guys here. And we'll catch you tomorrow. All right, have a good one. Good night. Bye-bye.